This full-size SUV is powered by a diesel. It has enough room for your family, all your gear, and probably part of the neighborhood. The 2026 Chevrolet Suburban RST Diesel proves that you can have fuel efficiency, towing capacity, and a great-looking truck. A friend of mine purchased this truck because they're typically not on the dealer lot. They had to special order it. Even though diesels are becoming more and more popular because of their fuel economy and their towing capacity, they don't stay on the lot very long. So the customer that purchased this vehicle did not want chrome, and that left them with the RST trim. Yes, you can go to the higher trim levels that offer even more technology, including the famous Super Cruise system, but then you're going to get a lot of chrome. So there are gives and takes throughout the whole vehicle. This is a pretty unique vehicle with all black trim across the front. Behind this gigantic Chevy bow tie logo is the safety features. They're all over this vehicle, and this vehicle does have a 5-star crash test rating, which means it has the top safety rating you can get from the federal government. LED headlights. There are not a lot of changes for this year, but the overall look of this vehicle looks great, which is why they chose the RST trim. Under the hood of the Chevrolet Suburban are 3 engine choices: a 5.3-liter V8, which is standard, or you can go with the higher output 6.2-liter V8, which is optional, or the fuel-efficient turbocharged engine, which is an additional $995. Our test vehicle is the Duramax Diesel, which is a 3-liter, 305 horsepower, 495 pound-feet of torque. All 3 engines are backed by a 10-speed automatic transmission with either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Our test vehicle gets 24 miles a gallon combined. We were able to beat that on a drive recently. 0 to 60 time, 8.4 seconds. There is a ton of torque. That's what you want when you're towing and when you're driving. There are a couple reasons to buy a diesel engine. 1, the range, 624 miles. That's a lot. Towing capacity, 7,800 pounds. You can't do that with a gas engine. The RST trim level comes standard with 22-inch alloy wheels. I think they look pretty good. Of course, different trim levels, different wheel designs. There are multiple trim levels when it comes to the Chevy Suburban: LS, LT, RST, Z71, Premier, and High Country. That's a lot. So this is the RST, which is the middle of the range, and this beautiful radiant red paint is an additional $495. The 2026 Chevy Suburban shares the underpinnings with the Tahoe SUV and the Silverado 1500 pickup truck, both of which are proven workhorses with similar towing and hauling credentials. The RST package has integrated turn signals, folding mirrors, which are heated, and Suburban here in black. Very nice. And this customer optioned for the keypad, which is nice. You don't have to carry your key with you. Running boards are standard on the Suburban. When you step inside this vehicle, you can see the beautiful interior. I have to show you this gigantic 17.7-inch infotainment screen. It's one of the largest in the industry, as well as the 11-inch digital gauge cluster. Totally customizable both here, and you can adjust whatever it is that you're looking for in your settings. All of this, whether it be the audio system, your Bluetooth connections, can all be found here. And there's also the My Chevy app. This also has a recorder. You put an SD card in, and that's really good because nowadays people want to be safe and have that camera system that you can record. All you need is a USB drive. Our test vehicle has the Bose optional 10-speaker system, AM, FM, Sirius XM, of course, your Bluetooth and everything else. That is part of the comfort package, which is $2,260. And that does include a lot of additional features, including a heated steering wheel. I like the red stitching to match the exterior. Very nice, very classy. Gloss black down here. I'm not a fan of gloss black. It creates fingerprints, but they really did a nice job mixing the gray with the black and the red stitching. In this vehicle, it looks really classy, especially with the bright red exterior. Nice big grippy steering wheel. Controls are standard for any Chevrolet. Your shifter is on the column on one of the stalks. Very easy to use, configurable, which is what people want. This vehicle doesn't have some features that I would like to see, and we'll talk about that during the test drive, which we'll be doing in just a second. The Chevy Suburban has seating up to 9. Yeah, you can order a bench seat for the front, but that's going to be on the entry trim levels. Captain's chairs in the second row, and of course, bench in the third. Our test vehicle has leather seating on the front row and the second row. Not available in the third row. All right, let's take a look at the second row. One thing this vehicle does not have that I wish it did is arrive and drive. When you reach the vehicle and you have the key fob in your pocket, you should be able to unlock the door. In this case, you have to press the button to lock and unlock the vehicle. Heading into the second row, there is a ton of legroom, a ton of storage in the doors and cup holders behind the center console. You've got climate control here and 3-stage heated seats for the second row, 2 USB-C charge ports, and a wall outlet here. Because this vehicle has a gigantic glass roof that goes about halfway back of the second row, you will find your vents for the second row up here on both sides. There's also grips to help you get in and out of the vehicle. Heading into the third row is easy by going between the two captain's chairs, or that folds right out of the way. Really nice and easy to use. Access the third row. There's also a button on the C-pillar which will fold the seats out of the way. This is not the penalty box. This is perfect for adults back here. You can get 3 across the back. There is no latch system in the third row. There is in the second row, but you can put booster seats and child safety seats here, but you'll have to do it the more traditional way. There's also USB-C charge ports on each side, as well as cup holders. Plenty of room for adults and for kids. The gigantic sunroof on this vehicle is $1,500. I think it's worth it. It brings a lot of light into the vehicle. And the warranty is 3 years, 36,000 miles with a 5-year, 60,000 mile on the powertrain. Complimentary maintenance is included for your first visit. Across the back, you've got this upper wing, which gives it a sportier look. But what I do like, and this was a design originally by General Motors, was to tuck that wiper blade up underneath. Other brands need to see this because that wiper blade can get damaged from the sun, from a snow brush, going through a car wash, and tucking it up underneath will save you a few dollars because those little wiper blades, they're kind of expensive. I like the black across the back, the black Suburban logo. Duramax here, letting everyone know you were smart enough to purchase a diesel engine. I'm a huge diesel fan. I personally drive a diesel SUV, not this big, but a diesel SUV anyhow. RST here with the red and the chrome, very nice. Chrome tailpipes, very clean, very nice looking, very sporty, and covering your hitch, here is a cover. Let's take a look at the cargo space. There's plenty of it. The one thing that's really nice about the Suburban is the load floor. It's flat and it's low, making loading and unloading easier than many of its rivals. They have higher load floors, which makes it more difficult to get things in and out. Cargo space in this vehicle is huge. 42 cubic feet of storage with the third row up. There are many SUVs out there that don't have that with the second row folded. Fold down that third row. Now you're at 95 cubic feet of storage. Fold down the second row, which you can do all power again. Folds it right out of the way. Super impressive. Both sides. And now you're at 145 cubic feet of storage, some of the largest you can get in the category. That's super impressive. All right, let's take this vehicle for a test drive and let's see how it rides and how it handles. When you step inside the brand new Suburban, you will see a crystal clear camera. There's different settings, whether you want the standard or the overview, your side, very nice. And of course the hitch, which is great for backing up. But the goal of this is to see what's going on around you on a vehicle of this size is super critical. And that's why this vehicle has a 5-star crash test rating. Everything is included except for the Super Cruise, which is not available on this vehicle because it's a diesel. So because it is an RST and it is a diesel, when you add certain packages, they package it certain ways. And I get that you can't have it all. If you want it all, it just gets really expensive. The RST is the best value. You're getting the best looking vehicle. As we showed you on the outside, it's black. There's no chrome. If you don't mind the chrome, then you can go to the higher trim levels. But I really like the fact that this is a sportier look. And I think that's really important. But it does have some limitations, such as there's no head-up display. It's not available. Super Cruise is not available. But the vehicle itself is really nice. It rides so nicely and so smoothly that you'll be glad you chose that over a bunch of other gadgets that you may or may not need. I am now going to shut off the start-stop technology, which is a button on the left side. Also on the left side, you've got your 360-degree camera if you need it for parking, your hill descent, traction control. All of your drive modes are here, as well as your lights and your trailer brakes are also here on the left, keeping it all in one central location, which I do appreciate. All right, we don't need the road around us. So you do have standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There is a mapping system that does come along with it. It is Google Maps, as you can see. If you're not a user of Google, you can use your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto. Very easy to use. Everything is here. Gigantic screen, like I said when we were walking around the vehicle. I really love the fact that they've made this driver focus, shifted toward the driver. A very large size also is also really important. When you're driving a vehicle of this size, you almost want to balance it all out. I mean, you've got a lot of people on board typically. It's a larger vehicle. great for towing. And that's what I really love about the diesel. You get your towing, you get phenomenal fuel economy. This is getting 25 miles to the gallon, which is better than what the window sticker says. We had it on the highway. It's got a couple hundred miles on this vehicle, and we were getting 28 miles to the gallon. Again, another reason I love diesel, longer distance between fill-ups. And with having, 272 miles in this tank, I still have over half a tank of fuel. This has some wicked torque, which is what you need for towing, which is why I'm a huge fan of diesel, because you get the best of all worlds, the better fuel economy and, of course, the torque. For towing, this is the option that you want. If you want performance, there's all kinds of options. You can go with a 6.2 liter, you can go with the other engine that I talked about while we're under the hood, but to me, this is the best balance, and it is the only one in the category that offers diesel. So if it's a General Motors product, you can get diesel. If you want it Ford, doesn't come that way. Jeep doesn't come that way. They used to offer it, but now they don't. So that means your only option, if you're looking for a 3-row full-size SUV, would be a General Motors product, which would include the Cadillac, which does not come in diesel. I don't know why. Maybe they'll be offering that in the future. Having an Escalade diesel would be really cool, but they do offer an Escalade V, which is really, really nice. And we have reviewed that on our channel. The one thing you'll notice right away with a vehicle this size is the turning radius is really nice. In a long vehicle like this, typically you think, oh, it's going to be hard to find parking spots. It's going to be hard to get around corners. Not at all. The ride on this is smoother than you can imagine. Now, the person that owns this vehicle previously had a Ford Expedition, fully loaded, everything you can order, and it rode worse than this. And it was a brand new vehicle. So I really am impressed with the Suburban and what it offers, and it's the largest in the category. Yes, you can get the Expedition Max. You can get the Grand Cherokee, and some of the other vehicles, we'll talk about that in just a second. But overall, this vehicle is really a nice value considering a full-size 3-row that has all these features. This is certainly something to consider. I like the high seating position. The seats are very comfortable. They're about 10-way power seats. They do have 2-way lumbar. I wish it was 4-way lumbar. You can get heated seats. You could not get vented seats on this trim level, which is the RST. And a lot of times when you order certain packages, they're packaged in a way like if you go with the diesel, which you'd want, you can't get the vented seats. Why? I don't know. It probably has to do with chips and all that. And we cover all that on our Car Coach Reports channel on shortages and what's going on in the industry. So before you make your decision, make sure to do all your homework, not just on this channel for car reviews, but also on Car Coach Reports, and listen to our radio show, The Drive, which is on syndicated radio, but you can also listen to it on podcast or The Drive Car Show on YouTube. Now that I've got through my personal commercial, I wanted to talk to you about some other things. Braking is really nice and balanced. When you're driving a vehicle of this weight, over 6,000 pounds, you need to have big brakes. So there are large brakes on this vehicle. And I think the other thing they did is this vehicle does not offer a magnetic ride, but I don't think you need it. I mean, this is super impressive comfort. This is probably, all right, I'll make a statement. It's the best in the category because I'm super impressed with an RST, which is a mid-level trim that rides this comfortable. I think the competition needs to take this for a test drive and compare it to what they're offering, because a lot of them are a lot rougher rides. And you're driving a big vehicle of this size, sometimes it's like riding in a log wagon. Not that any of them are, but they can be really rough rides. And in this case, you don't feel that at all. This is super smooth, super comfortable, big, meaty, grippy wheel. And everything about the drive experience of this is going to impress you, especially if you've driven the competition. I'm not saying they're horrible. I'm just saying you need to take this one for a test drive, and you will see what I'm talking about immediately. I'm really impressed with the vehicle, the overall feel, the modern interior, the carbon look, access to all the controls. I wish there was a head-up display and some additional technologies that were available, but they're not. Large dials for larger hands. I have little hands, but wireless charging. Oh, and it does need a regular outlet. There's only 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-A outlets. That's it. And in my opinion, I think you need something for a radar detector. If you need to plug something in, you need more charge ports. And I'm surprised there aren't more charge ports, because that's what people want to always be charging, especially if you're using second row seat entertainment, which is an option, which they didn't get in this car, or third row charging. Yes, there are charge ports there, but for here, for the driver and the passenger, there's just 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A. Everything's super easy to use. I mean, if you've driven any General Motors vehicle, you're going to feel super comfortable in finding what you need. All the climate controls are here. You've got additional climate controls down below and plenty of storage, not just on the side of the console, but also in the doors. You've got a gigantic glove box that is deep. I mean, you could put a laptop in here. You could put a safe if you want to lock things up. I mean, really, really impressive. Gigantic full glass roof. All the controls are on the overhead console, not just for the vent, but also for folding the third row seats, which is really helpful when someone's in the back saying, hey, open the trunk. I got to put something I bought at Costco in the back. Well, I can fold the third row seats from here. That is convenience, and that is very helpful. This is a very large vehicle, and when you're putting a lot of gear in, that's important. The one thing I would like to see added that I think should be added because of safety in my eyes is when you have a vehicle of this size and you've got adults, 3 in the third row, 2 in the second row, and 2 up front. That's a full house if you're playing cards anyhow. And you've got gear in back because you're going on a road trip. This vehicle has the storage, but it does not have the rear view camera, which General Motors created. This is their design. They're the first ones to bring that rear view camera where you flip the switch and it's full camera. It's not available. And it's part of a tech package that you cannot get with the diesel engine. I don't know why, but again, this has to do with packaging. I'm sure it has to do with value and so forth. But that's one of the things I think is a plus, and it should have it. But I really like this ride of this car, and we're on a rough road right now, and it's just sucking up the rough road, and you don't even feel it. Now, in the previous vehicle this person owned, it was an Expedition, and you felt it. I'm not saying the Expedition's bad. It's a very popular car. You just need to have this as a competitive drive. There would be the Expedition Max that would compare to the Subaru. Again, we'll go through the full list of competitors, my pros and cons, as well as the most important part, the price. Let's take a look at that now. There are some pros and cons when it comes to the 2026 Chevrolet Suburban. On the plus side, I love the looks. I like the fact that they offer a black trim option, diesel engine, and the only competitor that offers a diesel engine, which is super smart. Long distances between fill-up, great towing capacity, excellent pickup because you drive torque, even though people think you drive horsepower. Tons of cargo space all the way around, a full-size spare, literally everything you'd want, but I wish there were some packages that would offer additional line items for those things you would want, like the rear view camera. Super Cruise would be a nice feature. No 12-volt outlet in the front, which would also be a nice feature for a radar detector, especially when you're towing. No arrive and drive. Just a few things, but overall, this vehicle is a really excellent choice. If you're looking for something for that long haul and you're towing something, this would be your wisest choice. Let's talk about the price and the competitors. Pricing on the Suburban starts at $66,495 and goes all the way up to $89,495 for that top trim level. Our RST had quite a few options, as many as you could order on this vehicle, and came in at $83,950. The competitor list, I highly suggest you test drive all of them. Check with your insurance agent. And if you need towing capacity, this is going to be your answer. Ford Expedition and Expedition Max are direct competitors, as well as the Chevrolet Tahoe, the GMC Yukon and Yukon XL, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the Nissan Armada. Overall, the big win for the 2026 Suburban is the diesel engine available. That is something that, again, none of the competitors have, and makes us a great choice for those people that are towing and want longer distances between filling up. If you'd like to support our channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. The link for that is down below, as well as all my social media. I'm LaurenFix. Thanks so much for watching.